One of the most cautiously hyped games I have lined up for 2020 is Halo Infinite, the 6th main game in the series. And let me tell you, this game has a lot it needs to live up for. With over 5 years in development, and since the release of Halo 5 Guardians, there's a lot that needs to be discussed in order to make this game successful. I'm not talking about sales, because sales don't equate a game's long-term success in my eyes. Halo 5 sold a lot of copies, Halo 4 sold a lot of copies, but their player bases were practically depleted within a few months of their respective launches. Halo 5 launched with mediocre maps and only a few playlists that made the game kind of a bore within the first few months until Forge and, more social playlists were added. Halo 4 was almost DOA after a couple of months, with player base counts in the hundreds on playlists. So what does Halo Infinite need to do in order to be successful? Well, let's have a discussion about that. I'm going to start off by saying Halo can never return to its former glory of Halo 2 through 3 and the hype that went along with those games. These games were worldwide phenomena that can't be replicated in today's ecosystem of gaming. Arena first-person shooters aren't world-changing anymore, and to be honest, they don't need to be. Halo doesn't need to reinvent the wheel anymore. That's what failed with Halo 4 and Halo 5, because it became a state of identity crisis. What Halo Infinite needs to do from the gate is refine the wheel. Nostalgia, for better and for worse, has become the forefront of media for the past few years. The wanting to go back to the old days, the good old days. Halo Infinite, which has already done this with its trailers, has to harken back to the gameplay and the feeling of Halo 2 and 3, and maybe some Halo CE here and there. Mysterious worlds without too much busyness on the screen, which is what plagued Halo 5. The armor from both trailers has already shown a minimalistic approach that helps to decipher what you're wearing, that will hopefully translate into the multiplayer. Halo 5 had a huge problem of over-designing the armor that led to rather, distasteful looks and problems of not even recognizing what type of armor your opponent had on. This was like something I missed from Halo 3 and Reach. The ability to see someone with Hayabusa armor or recon and being like, oh shit, this guy might be pretty good. You don't see that with Rec Pack, T-Rex head armor. It was distasteful and pretty ugly. Master Chief's armor in the Infinite trailers is gorgeous, with more defined lines, but not as many random pieces or shapes that break up the overall design such as in Halo 5. It's sleeker, but more of an update to that Halo 3 armor. I absolutely love it. When it comes to whatever the multiplayer ends up being, I severely hope that there are a lot of maps with the launch of the game than that of Halo 5. The problem I had with 5 was, not just the lack of maps, but the lack of 343 created maps. The game had so many Forge maps, an overabundance of Forge maps. And while Forge maps weren't, bad per se, their aesthetic became dull and tiresome over the game's lifespan. Gray with hints of color here and there, and that may have been the limitations of the Xbox One. Who knows? With this new slipspace engine, I'm hoping for a stronger use of Forge that creates more variations of map design that isn't just flat ramps and boring old gray textures. Halo Infinite is posed to launch on not just Scarlet, but the entire Xbox One family, as well as PC. And I feel like this will definitely help with keeping populations at a higher level with the addition of crossplay. But for matchmaking, I would like to see what the recent Call of Duty has done with connecting players together, either with controller only, mouse and keyboard only, or a mix of the two at the discretion of the players. That way everyone can play at an even playing field if they want to play with their friends or not. It's kind of hard for me to say because I don't really have a lot of words about the campaign. I've been so let down by Halo 5 that I can't say much about where I want the story to go or how they're going to handle it or what I want the Chief to do or Cortana or whatever. There's already a couple of theories out there, but for me personally, it's hard for me to really say what I want from the campaign. I guess I'm hoping for missions that feature somewhat of an expansive world, maybe not open world, but in the vein of something like Metroid Prime and the recent Jedi Fallen Order, where there's room to explore, maybe finding old Forerunner structures and lore or a camp setup needs help defending against Guardians or Covenant or whoever the hell the enemy is in this game. Terminals, skulls, and more Easter eggs sprinkled throughout the missions to add to replayability and giving worth to exploration if they're going to go back to a more open experience such as like Halo CE. I also hope the team mechanic doesn't return from Halo 5 because, well, it was glitchy most of the time and it just felt weird having a whole team kind of doing everything for you, like the AI. Like, it was so just, it felt off. I did not like it at all. I suppose it was like intriguing to see the conversations between the teams, but the character dialogue were weak and didn't do any character building except for sparse one-liners and random exposition that was easily missed by players. So to quickly recap everything that I'd like to see in Halo Infinite with, what little we know about a game less than a year away, I want to see a multiplayer that has enough content to warrant replayability, competitive and social playlists with a ranking system akin to Halo 3 and 5. I quite like the ranking system from Halo 5, and I hope something of the sort is in the game day one. I also want ways to keep the community and player base coming back for multiple years instead of what felt like maybe a couple of months at the most. Hopefully not all the armor is behind microtransactions, but I'm not really holding out for that. I would like some challenges or maybe firefight to come back, and then we can get some armor through that, kind of like Halo Reach. Maps and modes, they have to be released in not a drip feed style, and we need some form of events to make players want to come back. If they're going to add in skins or whatever it may be, do like Halloween stuff or some cool stickers or something here and there, probably, because they're going to need money. Also, a campaign that features more expansive missions with more than just one objective and some side objectives in it. And a more robust system to the esports forefront. Because while I really didn't discuss it, 3K viewers for a grand finals, it's kind of sad. And I would love for them to pump more into the marketing for Infinite and its esports scene. More local advertised events, like on Smash GG. They've done a bit of this with the grassroots program for Master Chief Collection, but it could do a lot better. So that's kind of like my whole thoughts on Halo Infinite, what I feel like it needs to do to succeed in its first year. So let me know what you guys think about this in the comments, and I'll catch you later.